Hello everyone. Recently I saw a video for Photoshop describing how to create a chocolate text with a icing draped over the letters. And although our text capabilities aren't the greatest in Photo Plus, I wanted to show you that you can do the same thing without too much difficulty. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to start out by creating a new 1024 by 768 document. Looks pretty good. We're going to zoom in on this a little bit, and then we're going to add a gradient background. It is going to go from black to sort of a plum color, or a bright pinkish plum color like this. And we're going to say OK to that. We're going to choose radial from up here, and I have it set for reverse simply because we want the plum in the center going out to black. So we click about here, and we stretch out to the corner, and that's good right there. We are then going to add a text object. I'm just going to drag this out here a little bit. Go find my keyboard, and I'm going to type the text in all caps, love, on there. We can minimize that. We're going to select this. We're going to choose smooth, and we're going to choose a different font. I prefer something thick and big like Balloonist. Balloonist. Like that. Nice big thick text. I'll put that dead center here. And we're actually going to make it a little bit bigger than that. Just drag this handle up. And move it back down here like this. Okay. We're also going to select this text. And we're going to change the color to obviously a more chocolate color. Something along these lines should do the job. Very good. Now, on this text, we are going to go to FX, and we're going to lay out a few things here. We're going to turn on 3D effects. We're going to turn down the blur a little bit, turn up the depth. We're going to go down to lighting, change this light to something that's more on top, and then we're going to add a second light of sort of an orange color, maybe a dark orange like this, something like that. And we're going to make sure that this is, way off in the distance, down at the bottom like that. That looks pretty good. Then we're going to go to 2D bump map. And although checkerboard is pretty good, we're going to change that to the leaves and this little guy here and say OK. We are going to decrease the depth on that to something like that. We're going to decrease the scale, to something more like that. Almost looks like turtle chocolate. We're also going to change the curvature on both of these, just like that. One more item, we're going to add a drop shadow, increase the blur, increase it just a tad more, maybe the distance a little bit like that, maybe go down a touch on opacity. And we're going to say, OK. It looks somewhat like chocolate. Now in Photoshop, they have some contour features that allow you to change the bevel. We don't have those functions, so we basically just have to make do with what we have. So we're going to duplicate this layer. And once we have it duplicated, we are going to turn off most of these things, except we're going to turn on color fill because we want this to be our frosting, and our frosting is going to be this beautiful pink color. Beautiful pink. Just like this. Now, we need to take a selection box, and we're going to drag the selection around what we want the size of the frosting to be. I'd say right about there. And then we're going to click that Add Layer Mask. Just like that, which gets rid of the lower part. We're going to deselect the upper part. And we're going to go right back into Effects and start adding a few effects to this. We are going to add 3D effects, but we're going to get rid of the 2D bump map. And we're also going to change the depth of this a little bit, so it's a little bit softer. A little bit more rounded, soft. Something like that. We're going to say okay to that just for a minute, and I want to put some curves in the bottom edge of this. So I'm going to select this thumbnail, and I'm going to go up here to Effects, Distort, and Wave. Add a little bit of intensity, and add a few waves. And just add some waves and more intensity, like that, and make it look like the icing is kind of dripping down on there. And okay, that looks pretty good. Just going to jump back into Effects now. And for this to look like a proper glaze, we're going to need to add some 3D bump mapping to it. We're just going to drag up a point, drag down a point, drag up a point, drag down a point, drag up a point, drag down a point. Kind of gruff and rocky there. But we're just going to turn these down. Turn them down like that. Something along those lines. We're going to say okay. And there you have it. A lovely hunk of chocolate with some pink frosting on top.